Hello, I'm Jamie.
Hello, I'm Mark, and it's time for another episode of Through the Garden Gate. Good evening, everybody. I'm live in the polytunnel at the bottom of the garden. Let's see if Jamie's about, and I'll get Jamie in. Good evening.
Sorry I'm late, I was just discussing holidays with Nat.
Oh, nice. It's lovely.
She's just come home from Greece and she's all a bit glum.
She's got home. We'll be like, oh, great, it's cold, it's winter.
Yeah, so she said it's
I
all
go back
grey
to
and
Greece.
horrible. Grey and horrible now. Yeah. Yeah, Catherine, it is Monday. Maybe you haven't seen my story from earlier. It is Mark's wedding anniversary tomorrow.
Indeed it is.
How many years?
Don't put me on the spot like that.
Come on, how many? Come on.
12.
12, is that right, Steph? Come on, tell us. How have you put up with 12 years of him? Oh, my God.
It's not just 12 years, it's 16 years we've been together.
16 together. Yeah, look, she's agreed. It is 12 years married, 16 together. Oh, wow.
Indeed it is.
12 years. I can hear some George breathing in the background, I believe.
No, there's no George. George isn't here.
I can hear him.
Right.
Good evening, everybody.
Should we get our guest in for the night?
Are you going to do an intro?
Yeah. So tonight's guest is a garden DIYer, a bulb planter, a hedge cutter, a seed sower, a lawn mower extraordinaire, a ladybird house maker, a bug hotel maker, an autism advocate, a cerebral palsy warrior. It's my son, it's George!
Ta-da!
Just like magic have appeared.
George, to me, that sounds like you're a better gardener than your dad, to be honest.
I think he is.
I know. Sadly, and then make me go to work. And then you go back to school.
Yeah.
That sounds good, doesn't it?
You and Nibbles can keep it all in order.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to be a gardener when you get bigger, George?
I don't know. I have lots of jobs on my mind.
I bet one of them is a Formula One driver.
Yeah. A lot of them involve F1 and football.
Yeah, I bet, yeah. Every boy's dream is either a Formula One driver or a footballer.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never know. Work hard, you might get it.
Yeah.
Somebody has to do it.
Or an F1 engineer.
Engineer there.
The car.
Or you could be an F1 front right wheel changer.
Yeah.
But what a job that would
It's pretty
be.
hard as it is, Dad. Yeah. And when
That
we
would be
went to Silverstone, did you see me with Molly?
It was hard because you could, at the Formula One museum, you got to do the
Oh, yeah.
practice. It was hard work, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant. I bet they're heavy. Them wheels are heavy, aren't they?
I have news.
You have news?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
He's got script and everything.
Yeah.
This looks a bit official to me.
So I'm doing a charity walk on 27th of October.
What?
I am.
What do you mean?
Yeah. Seriously.
A charity walk?
Yeah.
Where? What do you mean?
From Harvey Park to Lincoln Castle.
What? Wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe
8
that.
miles. 8 miles.
No way.
Yeah, for Greenfingers.
For Greenfingers charity.
Yeah.
I can't. But how did you get roped into this, George?
I did. It was my idea.
You thought of this idea yourself?
Yeah. Seriously.
Are you crazy? 8 miles is a long way. Wow. So you
Wheel
come up with
backpack.
this idea, did you?
Yeah. And that's why it's called Greenfingers Special.
Oh
Nice
yeah,
Greenfingers.
tonight. Yeah, look, Nat's even said, no way, 8 miles is absolutely massive. Kate said, that's really far. Nobody can believe it. That's a long way.
The target to raise is £100, and we haven't even done it yet, and we've already got £20.
Oh my goodness. This sounds fantastic. This sounds really
Yeah,
so.
we've only just done it.
We've only just put the page up, and we haven't even done the charity walk yet, and people have still started sponsoring me.
That is fun.
If you go on my
Fantastic.
dad's Instagram account and then go on links, it'll have the link on it, and then you can donate.
Oh, I see. So there's going to be a just giving page.
Yeah, just giving pages
Yeah.
set up.
Yeah.
And then they can pay. So if George walks 8 miles, we'll give £5.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the target is £100. We might pass that.
If you go past it, you can, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But let's stick to your target first, shall we?
These are the so we go from Hardy to Doddington, and then from Doddington to Skellingthorpe, and then all the way up to Lincoln Castle.
That sounds really familiar. Where have I heard of all that before?
It's a very similar route to what we did, but it's starting from a different place. We're going to the castle rather than
The
to
cathedral.
the cathedral.
Yeah, we're going to the castle. You know where the dragons were in the summer holidays.
Yeah, I've been to Lincoln Castle before.
Yeah.
So, is it on footpaths? It's not on. You don't have to go on the road or nothing, do you?
No. Well, maybe a few times.
It's mostly all on footpaths, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. But it starts on a field and then goes on to a path, and then keeps going on to a path.
So, why did you even think of this?
So I was thinking, we went. Me and my mum went out on a dog walk, and I thought, Mum, I want to do a charity walk for Greenfingers. And she went, oh, that's a good idea. And she went, where from? I went from here to Lincoln Castle, and she went, really? And I went, yeah. Yeah, so
And the dogs will be joining in.
the dogs will be joining in. Sponsor the little dash and
And of course, we'll have to go up steep hill at the end.
Oh God,
we'll
I
have
hate
to go
steep hill.
up steep hill.
I hate steep hill.
Jamie, literally, we'll have walked for miles and miles, and then steep hill at the end.
I know. Tell me about it. And the only reason I don't mind steep hill is because it's got a handrail all the way up, and you can pull yourself all the way up.
Yeah, we are going to have a lunch break though.
Definitely. We're not going to probably take us all day.
Yeah.
Take it nice.
Yeah.
Take ourselves some sweets. Take ourselves some sandwiches.
You need sweets to keep your energy up, don't you, George?
Yep.
Lots
Keep
of
plodding along.
sweets. Lots of sweets.
And then if you get tired, I'll throw you in a wheelbarrow. That sound like a good idea? I'll push a wheelbarrow the whole length.
Yeah.
That's a mummy said she may need a drink by the end of it. I don't think she means orange squash, does she?
Does she mean a Red Bull?
Red Bull give you wings though. You can't fly.
Okay, sorry. Monster then. No.
Monster, yeah.
Oh, Monster Energy.
Daddy, he won't be sponsored for it for much longer because Ferrari isn't sponsored by.
Who's Ferrari's energy drink?
Scuderia, I think.
Who knows? Something Italian.
Yeah, something Italian.
Probably coffee.
Coffee.
Grandma's on there. She said, "Hi, George."
Hello, everyone.
How convenient. Catherine said, how convenient that it ends at a pub.
So.
Well, George chose it, not us.
There's lots of pubs.
I'm surprised it's not finishing it like Jumping or something.
What's the little pub up the top called? Smugglers, is it?
The Smugglers is on the other side of the
It's
castle, yeah.
Tiny, isn't it? I've been in there.
I know that guy, this Johnny here. we'll need a pint after all of that.
Of course he will.
Especially if I've got to push you up steep hill in a wheelbarrow.
Oh, that's fantastic, George. It really is. So we need to get your Just Giving page out, don't we?
Hey, take it slowly.
The Magna Carta. Oh, right, okay. Catherine's going to be in the Magna Carta.
You get that really quickly. You get that really quickly if you're in an F1 car.
You would, but even an F1 car couldn't get up steep hill.
No, the engine will probably cut out and break.
Well, they wouldn't be able to drive on all those cobbles, would it?
No.
They need like really smooth roads.
Flat roads. Well, then you'd be going like that, and it goes up like that, so it'd get stuck, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Do what Nibbles does. Do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, so tell us all about it again, George. Tell us.
He goes up to the top of the Teletubby mountain. He sees grass at the bottom, and then there's like some soil, and then it goes, and then it gets stuck.
Yeah. Tell us about it again, George. What? So you're doing a walk for who?
Greenfingers.
Greenfingers charity. That's fantastic. And your starting point is.
The dog's in that white bag over there.
There's a ton bag outside and the dog is inside it.
Jamie, literally.
Tell people about the whilst I get the dog out.
Right. So where's your starting point?
The starting point's at Harvey Park and going all the way up to Lincoln Castle.
8 miles.
8 miles.
Wow.
8 miles. So if you want to sponsor me, go on the donate thing.
Just Giving page.
Yeah, just give him page, and then donate.
We'll all share that, won't we?
I wonder if you'll have your new splint by then, because we've been to have a new splint measured
Yeah.
at the hospital today, haven't
Yeah,
we?
we have. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Tell us about that. What's that for?
It's just because my old splint is getting that very big and it's getting
Very
that
small.
very small.
So
yeah.
you're outgrowing your old splint, so they've measured up for a new one.
Yeah. So what they do is they put a sock up, like a wet sock. They put it in like a thing, and then they get a bit of plaster and roll it around the sock.
Yeah.
And then they wait for that to dry, and then they put like stuff on it.
Yeah.
Like draw lines on it.
Draw on where your bones are
Yeah.
on your leg.
Yeah, and then they cut the plaster off.
With a Stanley knife.
Yeah, with a Stanley knife.
Oh my
I
goodness.
was like, oh my God, they're going to chop your leg off, George.
Yeah, and then they have to go like they cut it off like that. They go like that, and then they have to go like yeah. It's very scratchy when it first comes off because the plaster's hard, and it is a bit sharp on your skin.
Well, it's like having a sock on your leg that's gone hard and stays in the shape of your foot, and then they chop it off, and then they've got a perfect model of your
Right.
foot.
Yeah. Perfect.
And then they mould your new leg splint
yeah.
around that so that it's perfect size for George's foot.
Yeah,
shape.
and then also they have and there's patterns that you can have on it. So I went for blue swirls.
Oh
but
yeah.
if they don't have that, I'm not going to have Lego bricks all over it.
Oh wow.
Oh,
So to me, George, right? If I think right, I'm going to go for a walk for 8 miles, and I'm, so you for start off, you're half the size of me. Whatever made you think 8 miles? It's going to be
I don't know.
such hard work.
Let's do it. Jamie, it takes like 2 hours or about that. It'll take us about 5.
Probably take us all
5.
Yeah, it'll probably take us
maybe
about
6 hours.
6 hours.
So you'll be walking at about what, 3 miles an hour?
Not if I run.
You're going to run some.
Yeah.
You run some, are you? Cool.
Not the end.
Yeah,
Not
run up there.
I'm not running up steep hill.
Make Daddy run up steep hill with you in a wheelbarrow.
I've done that in the past. Hey, I know what we have to do. Invite the Lincoln City imp to come at the bottom of steep hill and make me run up.
Because George is afraid of the Lincoln Imp. And
Yeah.
he saw him the other day. were in town and he ran away from him up the hill.
Yeah.
Dawn's just asked, where's the Just Giving page, George? Where can she find it? Where's the Just Giving page? Where can she find the link?
It's on my dad's Instagram page.
I go on to Mark's Instagram page and it'll be on there somewhere.
I'll share it on my stories later on as well.
We'll all get it on stories and then we can get George to his £100 target.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Right.
That's
Mummy,
fantastic, George. Absolutely brilliant, mate. Well done.
George, sit down.
That's a bit tangled.
It's all right. Be good, won't it? So it's not this weekend. It's next week.
It's next weekend.
Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
It's a Sunday.
And it's half.
Sunday the 27th. And hopefully...
And you know what's special about that day?
Go on.
What?
It's the last day of British summertime.
Oh. Is it?
Yeah.
Of winter
No,
time?
the last day of British summertime. So the clocks will go...
Oh,
backwards.
okay, yeah, that one. Oh, right, okay.
We'll go back
So that'll get light,
forward.
that'll get dark even earlier. Oh, no, the next...
Yeah.
Hey, Jamie,
Day.
in the winter, last year when I was in year 4, we got out and it was like pitch black like that.
No, terrible, isn't it?
When you
Not a
finish
nice
school.
time of year.
Rubbish.
Yeah,
Don't like
but
it.
yeah, when we come out of school in a few weeks, it'll be like that.
It will.
Yeah,
It
when I
will.
finish work, it'll be dark.
I was saying to my dad before this, at work, in the winter time, well, you need a lamp thing on your head, like this.
Headlight.
Yeah, head like that.
Like a miner the years back.
Yeah.
Or, what about this?
Oh!
That's just showing off, that is.
Hey, Jamie, by then, Nibbles will be in his box. Nibbles will be in his box in 2 weeks.
Yeah, he won't need to do much more work, will he?
He'll be in a few weeks, though.
So everybody
Probably-
be saying, George, it's an amazing thing you're doing.
It is. Really,
Really, really good. Really, really good.
Everybody's loving Jamie's fancy glasses.
Woo-hoo-hoo. They're good. They're for me for work. When I'm in a little dark place, I can see what I'm doing, you see. They're really good.
Hey, my granddad needs to wear like a mask for his new like role at work, and he needs like glasses for him.
I could see Mummy walking behind you.
Yeah.
Right, bye, Dad.
See you later.
Well done, George. We'll
Thanks for being
speak
our
to you
guest.
soon.
See you later.
Bye.
Cheers, mate.
Down the garden.
These are just off Amazon. I think they're about £7 each. Just look for reading glasses with lights on. Honestly, seven quid or something.
Are they not prescription then? I always assumed they were prescription glasses.
Well, they have got prescription. They're plus 1.5 or whatever they are. They're just for reading. I don't need them if I'm looking over there. It's only close up that I need them now. But because most of my work is close up, I need them all the time.
No, you don't want to put the red wire where the blue wire is supposed to go. And
No, that might have a little bit of a bang.
whoops.
That's a bit amazing, Mark, isn't it? What he's thinking about
It is
doing?
really. I'll be staggered if we manage to do it all, but we'll get there somehow. Even if he has to be on my back for half of it, we'll do the distance.
So some people obviously might not know about George. You ought to tell us a little bit about him.
Oh yeah, can do.
Go on.
You try and get me to like cry.
No, just give us why. You know, it's a big. That's what I was trying to say. It's a big thing for like me to do, let alone for someone like George to do.
Yeah. So George has cerebral palsy, which is a physical disability. The whole right-hand side of his body is affected by it. Not only does he has that, he also suffered brain damage from an infection at birth, which affected his kidney when he was born. So he's only got one kidney as well. And obviously he's got an autism diagnosis now as well, which is another cog in all of the craziness that we've had to endure in his short little lifetime. So
what an absolute star.
And just for him to, you know, I got
Just
a
to
phone
think
call.
it.
When they were out on this dog walk, I just got a phone call saying I've just thought of this. I want to do it. You know, there was nobody saying, let's do this. It was, I want to do that. This is my idea. You know, and it's obviously come from seeing me and Chris and Nat do the walk for Greenfingers. We did a couple of years ago. But yeah, amazing to help other people out, because I've seen what Greenfinger charity does for people that are in worse situations than what we've had to go through with George. And at least we've still got him. There's some people that don't have a happy ending.
Fantastic. What a absolute amazing little boy. He's not just that, he is an amazing little boy. He's how he comes on here every week and chats to me. It's fantastic. It's a highlight for me.
And if you knew some of George's struggles at like school and nursery, he used to really struggle with any kind of socializing, starting up conversations and anything like that. So I'm sure, for me, it's lovely to see him on here. I don't know whether everybody else loves seeing him, but from the response I've had when I've put posts and stuff up of George, people seem to enjoy seeing him do stuff and laughing at him.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
So,
just how he engages, it's just brilliant, and he can rabble on and tell us all what he's been doing and God knows what. It's fantastic.
And I don't think people will ever understand conditions like that unless they see people.
No, of course not.
If you hide it all in the shadows, how do people ever get an understanding of what other people are going through if you just keep it all behind closed doors?
Exactly.
So we try our hardest to push a positive message out there. Obviously there are bad days and there are bad hours and not everything's all rosy, but there are good points, and we take those positives with both hands.
I guess the good points are even more inflated for you because you do get the bad points.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, look, there's some lovely things coming in for George. Fantastic lad. Can't wait for that, and we will get that Just Giving page out to as far and wide as we possibly can.
Yeah, and raise some money for Greenfingers.
Yeah, definitely. Where's Chris?
Right, should we get our second guest in, if he's about?
Second guest, third joining.
Yeah.
I think most people know who this other guest is. Look.
Here he is. Groovy Gardener.
Hello, enough about me, more about George.
Oh, what an amazing chap he is, Chris.
Look, I'm a little sort of granddad here, but I know he's gone to bed. I'm sat with my blanket on. But from another autistic individual to another who's gone through some of those hurdles, not maybe the quite same hurdles that George has had, but from the autism perspective, certainly, hats off to George. My goodness me, what a beacon of light he is. And I learn from being with George as a gardener, let alone just in general day-to-day life, those little fleeting moments when I've seen George. And it's all about enabling somebody's independence. So he's, like you say, a lot of autistic individuals grow and develop in life into, hopefully, more advanced human beings than perhaps sometimes the desperate situation they think when they're younger. We go through stages of fear of being autistic, and sometimes we go into being very proud, and sometimes because we're so literal, we use it in a manner that we don't understand ourselves. I remember going to a supermarket and going to the cashier and used to say at one point when I got out of the fear stage, I'm autistic, can I have 20p off this please? Because I didn't understand. I was sort of bartering because it was literally sort of some sort of label that I had. And it's really lovely to see that he's making those choices, but it's about mimicking other people's behaviour. It's not about being told, as you said, Mark. And I'm not saying it with any bias, because if I said the opposite, it would be uncouth of me to do so. It is generally the case that a lot of autistic individuals learn and develop and come out of what their true shadow despite the difficulties, through social engineering of understanding others. And yes, go through the bad as well. So developing those emotional stages. So learning how to develop, I don't know, regret and grief comes out of mistakes. So wonderful to George that he's even thinking of it himself, even better Greenfingers, and I'll put the Greenfingers hat on now to say that on the charity's behalf is absolutely wonderful. So
That's amazing.
That Just Giving link can be put in the share of.
Definitely. Yeah. But the thing, just go back a bit, Chris, you said about him mimicking. It's good that he's thinking about, he's taking things in, like what Mark did. He's taking it in and remembering about Greenfingers and all that. You know, it's brilliant that it's all going in there. It's fantastic.
It is, but it's all learning. So it all then goes into fostered memories for adulthood and memories of understanding on how people interact. It's got a wider effect. We don't necessarily realise this at the moment, even us people on the spectrum that are older necessarily, unless we've been through that learning stage ourselves by then, that actually this has a wider social impact on how George is able to frame his stance and how he conducts sentences together. It's got and those things are then enshrined in people like me and him once he's cracked it. So for him to make these jumps, it's not just got a charitable benefit, it's got a wider benefit to him and of course then hopefully to others in his situation who might not have stage yet. So yeah, very important to see, and lovely to have him on the podcast. I think it's humble to have somebody who's so enthusiastic and clearly very genuine. And you know, a lot of autistic people are the purists that can be. Misunderstood, yes, but the purists, we're crap at telling lies. We're crap at sort of trying to make out that the opposite emotional response to what we really mean, you know, in terms of, because we're mind blind, so often so honest that we say it how it is, but actually that means it's as pure and, you know, genuine as it largely is, and it, you know, I can see that in George, and it's lovely.
Yeah, really, really nice.
So
really nice.
He's gone to bed now, but he can see what we've all said in sentiments and what comments have said, I'm sure, afterwards.
He'll be asking Alexa later on in the week to play episode 60 of Through the Garden Gate so they can listen back to it all.
Alexa, play my episode of Through the Garden Gate.
He does it every week when he's come on at the beginning, at the weekend on a Saturday, because the podcast gets uploaded on a Friday. He'll go and say to Alexa, play whatever number, because he'll ask me what number episode was it, and he'll go and listen to that first, however long it is that he's on.
He listened to his bit and then disappear.
Well, usually it's because I have to get him out before you start dropping the F-bombs. So
yeah, that mimicking behaviour.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Now for George to some old granddad in a chair in a blanket. I mean, dear, what a come down, eh? Mike. Although that's very tasty.
Lovely. Lovely lad. He's absolutely brilliant. So the Greenfingers thing. So we're all ambassadors, all three of us. Kim, I can see Kim in. She's a Greenfingers ambassador.
Catherine was in earlier.
Catherine was in. She's an ambassador. So yeah, it's. Tell us about Greenfingers, Chris, will you?
Absolutely. So I mean, personally been involved in for about several years now. The charity.
Sorry.
Somebody's saying that their Alexa's playing something now.
Because
play that. Greenfingers, national-based charity that's effectively dedicated to the cause of mostly building and providing the infrastructure towards building. And in some cases carrying on that longevity process, I'd say increasingly so, of gardens that are built for children who are in end-of-life hospice care, but it's as a wider support network of creating that garden. So it's intended for those individuals that obviously are in that very fraught situation, might not necessarily be fully aware of that situation as well, given their vulnerability and age. But the garden is there to be a cocoon for them and a support network for their families that will obviously be going through that end of life transition with the children. I mean, ghastly scenarios. And then the staff that are well trained, of course, then will also need that support cocoon to go to, I suppose, manage the masking. If we're talking, actually, it blends on very well from our autistic behaviour, doesn't it? You know, we actually, in this scenario, there will be people, friends and family and staff included, that go to visit those situations. And because, of course, the heart of the situation is the child in end-of-life care, there'll be a lot of masking going on, because the attention, of course, is paid on making sure they're supported, happy enough in the situation, comfortable, smiling because they're with the company and in the environment that, given the circumstances, is as happy as it can be for them. And so people have to block out what they're thinking, and it's part of those individuals. So the garden has to be really, we feel, we don't want those individuals to be sat inside having cabin fever. If they're well enough to be able to go outside,
Yeah.
then, and talking about enabling behaviours earlier, let's enable those people. Let's to be able to have freedom to go outside at that difficult situation they're in. If they're not able to, let's be inclusive about creating an environment that they can see out the window that's pleasant, or see from their chair that's pleasant, and feel natural and attract wildlife, so that we can feel loved rather than neglected. And Greenfingers, as we were saying, many charities, of course, fully reliant on charitable donations. They go and actively not only fundraise for equipment, plants, but designs of gardens, but they go in with support of its ambassadors and volunteers and corporate volunteers in many cases. Go in, you know, Mark and I have been such examples of people who've done it, build those gardens. And then there is an active programme, of course, on top of trying to look after those gardens, which by and large the hospices deal with, but increasingly Greenfingers is more conscious to making sure that those gardens are both properly supported by resort and look great. Because, of course, the end-of-life care scenario, like it or lump it, it's cyclical. It's going to be supporting people coming in and a new wave of people coming in. And so the garden really, in its ideal world, should be at its best for everyone. So George's fundraiser and any other fundraiser that people have ever done or will be doing supporting Greenfingers goes to the heart of that. And you know, without Greenfingers, there wouldn't have been a lot of joy created for people.
Yeah. So I think they're up to about, isn't it 70 gardens they've done now?
70 gardens, and they created a silver anniversary appeal, which was meant to be programmed over 2 years to end of next April 2025. And that was to raise, I think it was £2 million. I might be wrong on that. But the target is very, very nearly there. They've got a little bit left of that calculation estimate to make. Of course, we've got to wait till next April. And a lot of green work is through principal charitable fundraising events. So the primary one that they do is every March, Garden Relief Day, which followers may well be aware of. So that basically is anybody all over the country choosing to do things, either Greenfingers endorsed officially or unofficially, on that day of your choosing. But there are other things such as charity balls. Obviously, there's gestures like George's wonderful effort that's being requested. There's things we're going to be talking about. There's other things that all three of us are not aware of. There'll be. We've just been to Glee, the horticultural show. There was the Floral Thursday that all went into it. There's lots of initiatives. There's Kate Eben's running chat every day of the year.
That's unbelievable, that is. Oh.
Well, or something. Maybe more than that. 15,000 plus. So it's all down to individual compassion and spirit and spirit really into the occasion. No, as with any charitable thing, no amount is too small. We are appreciative, and also Greenfingers, as much as anything, of course, relies on people's help. The generosity of gardeners, of course, filters down to the ambassadors and the volunteers themselves that get involved in the garden. But those gardens are all over. You know, they're from, I mean, you know, your way, Jamie, there's the Nook in Norfolk, in Norwich. There's near us, there's Bluebell Wood Children's Hospice, which is the just down the next village from me. Phase 2 of that is underway. You know, have a look on Greenfingers' website as the of what they do, and the list of gardens there. You know, perhaps get involved.
Brilliant. Yeah, like you said, there's so many different things going on all the time. If you follow Greenfingers on Instagram or you look at their website, every week there's somebody else doing something, or something's popping up. Somebody's raised this, and something you've just recently done, or probably still in the process of doing, has blown my mind, Chris.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you think creatively in this situation, because I've made a personal unwavering commitment. If you stand up on a stage and go, my commitment to Greenfingers is unconditional, you don't say things like that lightly.
No.
And nor you move back on commitments like that. And that is still the case. And so when you're in a position of, and I am in a position of advocacy for a number of hats, Greenfingers has been a really good one to get involved with, is that through every situation, hopefully good most of the time, but even the trickier ones, you think, okay, well, where can we get some good out of this? And of course, it's well publicised, the design moving house, the house is sold. And as it happens, we are selling to somebody who hasn't said I hate gardening, but they said I'm not a gardener, and they don't know where to start. Of course, they're inheriting a garden that's got, well, no space left to put any plants in for a start. Really. So the natural inclination, of course, and the other kind of baggage behind moving, which not need to go in any further in it, but it's those who know obviously know. You know, let's make something good out of the scenario, whilst in the kind of holding process. It keeps me. So the idea was to, knowing that there's plenty of plants to go around, and for the new equal measure, let's go and have a look and see if we can auction some plants in the garden. So that process has been completed. I auctioned 150 auction lots off of the garden to I think 90 something different bidders, and most of those items, so there's been really generous bidding on that, incredibly thankful. And so all of the done through a secure silent auction called Gala Bid, and all of the proceeds to that, minus the postage and card fees. I'm paying some of the card fees, but most of it is sort of held by me. But the vast majority of it is going to Greenfingers, and we were able to raise 1,441. There are some extra ad hoc requests that I've had for plants that came after the auction, for things that either weren't in the sale or were, but I've got divisions of, because now's a natural horticultural time to think of what could we do with this. Yeah. So there will be some extra supplementary donations on there. And then on top of that, because some people were incredibly generous, I mean, we have some very rare plants in there. So again, you know, if you are selling to somebody who's not a gardener, the natural inclination there is not just the Greenfingers thought, but it's also that very spirited, generous gardening community around that in some cases know what they're doing with plants, and let's share what the kind of plants I've enjoyed with others who know how to look after them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, rare snowdrops, or it could be rare tender perennials. You know, there's some unusual salvias that are not always in the collection. There's lots of roses, obviously. You know, why not give those over to other people that are horticulture minded, that also perhaps are charitably spirited? So, in one case, we had a discontinued David Austin rose go for £120 just for one item. So that's incredibly generous. But I have been, where possible, delivering the items when there's been a large order, going in person because I think it's about then making sure that those plants are going to the people with a conscience, and that they get the groovy gardening seal of approval, I suppose. But it's you know, I'm going with the Greenfingers message attached to it. So some people have been incredibly good with the ordering, and I think it's only. I mean, you imagine the nightmare trying to pack it all in boxes, and it would cost a lot more. So charity, it's easy for me to pop in my tiny Toyota Aygo Cross and roam the length of the country on £10 worth of petrol, because and even in this day, I know the prices have come on petrol, but it means that the charity gets a little bit more then, rather than stopping up in delivery costs. So yeah, I think I've got about 8 or 9 left to go. I've posted 5 this morning. On their way, and yeah, it's been lovely to share the joy of it.
Chris has now been banned from his local post office as well.
You keep putting soil all over the counter every day.
Yeah.
I was straight in there, and because I'm a bit of a wannabe galanthrophile, so I was straight in there on your snowdrops.
Oh, good.
Oh, they were brilliant. And I can't wait to see them pop through this year.
Because as you well know, I was quite late to becoming a galanthrophile. So from that point of view, you know, only putting them in the garden this January, February, I don't want somebody to think they're just nivalis.
Yeah.
So, off they go to somebody else who knows where they are. And they were all started at prices less than the going rate for things, really. You know, the bidding went the way it went. So they started price representative of what I thought it would cost to post, nothing more. And people and there were a few bidding wars going on towards the very I know.
It's your time as well. Must have spent a lot of time digging everything up and packaging it and God knows what.
Dug up, got going specific boxes based on whatever shape they are. So trying not to cut things down. As you can imagine, roses have got a lot of hips on. I'm trying to avoid it, but the reality is I am having to cut certain things down. It's also dividing plant. But it's the bigger picture. It's the bigger picture. You know, the question whether it's arduous for me. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I suppose it stops me moping around. I mean, I know I've got a lot to look forward to, but I haven't had lots to look forward to recently. So it does stop some of that personal point of view. It just keeps energising. And when you're in a position of advocacy for charities, nobody at Greenfingers or any charities that I'm working for is setting a specific thou shalt behave in a certain way and thou shalt commit to all these things. It doesn't work. It comes out of natural nation. We're not request to ever be honoured in any respect. It's just generally the heart of what it is. And if you're like that in how you are, then people will follow.
Definitely.
And it's nice. But equally, the new owner gets the benefit of so many things. These plants that have been sold, you know, in many cases they've been divided or propagated in another way and left in the garden. So they will benefit. They, whilst pared back a little bit, will still resemble the garden that then became well known. You know, in just over a month's time, will be no more from us media. Unless they hack my account details, they're not going to get access to it, are they? Hopefully.
So do you want to tell us a bit more about what the exciting things going to be happening the next month?
Chocolate is relevant. I'm sat here in my little armchair chatting. I'm going to go all sort of Fred Dibber now, aren't I?
Don't go blowing
You need a
anything
flat
up.
cap for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a lovely luxury hot chocolate that I bought on the glorious island of Sark in the Channel Islands back in July, where I for inverted commas for 4 days. Well, I didn't escape to Sark. For people who don't know, it was a food state. It's part of the island of Guernsey, and I visited on a day trip to Sark. I've been before. Because it's got an RHS partner garden called Le Ségenerie. Now, I'm fooling you because people might think, oh, he's going to work at Le Ségenerie, but sadly not. Honoured that something else has come out of it, and I'm relocating to Guernsey, the predominant island that makes up the islands of Guernsey, Herm, Sark, Jetho, and Alderney. I stayed in 2 hotels, and the second hotel upon further discovery, natural, I hope, natural selection on merit and fate, a whirlwind fairy tale has come out of the somewhat as to why I went, that I've been taken on to be head gardener of the Pommier Hotel over in Guernsey in the Channel Islands, and I live there permanently, all being well. So a massive scoop.
Wow.
A massive life change, not at the behest of, certainly in Marc's presence, he's already had enough, you know, about how wonderful it has been with him. You know, I would have been planning to stay and make options to relocate if I could make it work. The thing is, I need a lot of certainty and rebuild. You know, how often do these things come about? They just don't. This is a hotel that's established in recently. It's describing itself as the island's best escape, secret escape, best kept secret, in fact. It's got 5 acres of gardens to play with, its own commercial sized glass house. The premise for bringing me in is to the ornamental and herbaceous part of where the hotel is, because the glass house is on a separate location, and bring to a head the kind of field to fork premise of the hotel, which they're doing already. They're already growing for the plate, growing their own, growing for the hotel from an ornamental point of view, flowers and so forth. But it's that wider self-sustainable experience on a garden on an island where sourcing food sometimes can be an issue because of the weather. The weather is better over there, but as you can imagine, we're very reliant over there on ferries and flights coming in, and when all that goes, so supplies in 1 minute. Mainland gets obsessed about toilet rolls. You know, it's you know, with natural resources to use on the island that are good for plants. Lots of good plant material, lots of edible plant material that's good from a catering point of view. So I'm going into a hotel experience with added skills, added value that I will that I can bring. But there's lots and lots of stuff that I don't know that I'm throwing myself into. Lots of uses new climate, completely different to over here, and that's exciting. But above all, It's a chance for me to hopefully mark of some kind, and it's in my favourite place. And for somebody in my persuasion, and by that I'm on about the hurdle I've personally gone through for years, somebody's reached that. It's not only a fairy, it's a fairy tale for anybody, but for somebody like me, that so let's run with it.
Why not? Yeah, yeah. See where it goes. You can't give up an experience like that. If you've been offered it, you have to take it. If it doesn't work out, come back.
Exactly. Exactly.
Please come back.
Well, I mean, definitely, and I'm extending my time with you until then. And I've said, I'll come back when leave period. If you need a day or two, that can be my holiday, can't it? I leave gardening for a bit, come home and do more gardening.
Honestly, don't come back. Make a success of it, and we'll come and see you and see the wonderful garden that you create, because
Definitely.
we all know you're capable of doing it, and you're capable of anything you set your mind to.
Thank you.
100%. Definitely.
Exciting, and it's a really good advert for the island. It is. People joke ambassadorial stuff for the Channel Islands. So I think it has a little bit of artistic interest area, if I'm honest, because travelled there so frequently. Even as I said, during a very fraught few days of going there, in some ways, I lost all thought process of being upset whilst there. And I just knew it's the only place to be there. To have ended up staying at a hotel which I didn't know had its own glass house with 2 boreholes. Didn't know was growing for the hotel already. Didn't know how they unpacked plans for the garden. But that's fateful. So, and I believe in that. And
experiences like that make you believe in stuff like that, don't they? Like how can all of those fall together?
But equally, why did they have to ask me to further that? We left on good terms, but I just thought, it would be lovely to go back to them and say, look, if I have a few days bored, I can be out doing some planning.
Oh my God!
Nothing else like that. Not to the extent at which I'd posed a request, and it went from there. And very humbled, and I know I'll give it my best. But yes, it's just the favourite place, really. So, but the important thing, though, from a gardening perspective, is that from a social media account, this isn't any disdain to. We've just been talking about Greenfingers, for example. I have been involved in a number of different hats. More recently, because I work freelance and self-employed with Marc for time, but that's also enabled me to work as Groovy Gardening. That's not changing. This idea that I'm going to going to be cut off from reality is actually a myth when it's Channel Islands, because the from Birmingham, I'm flying from there with a good tailwind, 50 minutes on the plane. It takes me time to check in, sit in at Guernsey Airport, and come home to Birmingham Airport and be picked up than it does for me to drive to Birmingham Airport from home now. And
surely they haven't got internet in Guernsey yet, have they?
They're really good for it.
They got electric.
They have their own. They take British pound, but they do have their own pound notes. Wonderful products. Very soil. Quite strong southwesterly winds. That's the only thing. They very rarely get frost. I have been to the Channel Islands when the Beast of the East hit. Yeah. I was there. That happened, and it snowed everywhere here, and it even snowed there. That's unprecedented. They even got Northern Light this earlier last week, and it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place, but horticulturally, it's very good for the island as well to have a resource that can be developed potentially as a public thing to go and visit, but it's also looking at the island, the people who live there, and there are 63,000 people that live on Guernsey. It's not tiny in that respect. The islands are to be able to have a garden to be proud of, that they can go and visit and eat at and stay at if they wish, as well as the tourists that's coming in, and the two kind of embrace one another. But also it's about that hotel sustainability ultimately, and the garden will be paramount to that. It'll also allow a lot of experimentation, you know, different plants that can't be grown here can be grown there. That fascinates me. And just the notion of giving it a go fascinates me.
But just paint the picture of what you're walking into, Chris. What is there at the moment? You know, is it just like you've got a bare piece of ground, or is it something there already and you've just got to mould it to, you know, what you think?
Yeah, so the hotel is called Lipomier, so you can follow that on here. Lipomier, it's that's POMMIER GSY. They have an account on here. It's a traditional 17th century Guernsey farmhouse with a more modern extension at the back. And then there's front lawns with a lovely established willow at the front and herbaceous borders that have got some lovely plants in there. There are some nice flowering plants. Largely lawns at the lining the car park and what is present events and wedding space, but very little interest and compartmentalisation within that lawned area. So the front herbaceous borders are neat. There's nothing untidy in that respect. It's lovely first entrance, but it's just the amount of untapped area potential. 5 acres. I mentioned a commercial glass house earlier. That's even offsite. You know, I've been in it, but you know, in a way, it's too big for a hotel operation of 30 odd rooms, I think it is. Boutique hotel, outdoor heated swimming pool with pool bar, with again ancillary garden spaces around the outside. But actually, only the front herbaceous borders are kind of done in that respect. There's more potential in pots and pot displays and that warm Guernsey well to embrace that extra successional interest through the seasons. Because you can imagine, whilst the low season may attract less people who come in the winter deserve just as a beautiful outdoor experience as the summer. There's going to be a no better person than a gardener coming to know how to settle that, whether it's me or anybody else. And there's also a priority on the wedding and event space. They have a lot of events for local corporate businesses that book out the hotel, and the ability to embrace that with extra things like horticultural tours around with the gardener, workshops, pick your own, because I want to establish a smaller kitchen garden with an on-site greenhouse, potager, and obviously raised beds, cutting borders for the hotel, and people to pick their own as part of experience workshops that probably I won't do. Third parties would do things like that, but it's about embracing the looking after businesses on the island as well who specialise in that, and off the island as well, coming in, you know, people who specialise in floristry. You know, I won't know that from Adam, but it's about the garden providing that platform to look after the island businesses or people from abroad that specialise in that come and do something. But then beyond the end of the lawned areas, there's lots of, should we say, moisture retentive areas, boggier areas that have got great potential for marginal plants, and actually growing, because of the conditions that we do have over there, even growing some areas that like a lot of water. I mean, even a rice might be not insurmountable if you choose the right one. The conditions are set. I mean, if you look, when we had a frost the other day here on the mainland, the difference between the Channel Islands, I often hold time is the night temperature is fundamentally different. So it's often 5 to 8 degrees warmer. And that means that there's not necessarily the light is much. We're on the same time zone as mainland there, but it's that temperature variation that has a big critical difference. And also a lot of the coves and the areas where places are sited are sheltered because they're sheltered by the beaches that surround them. There are, I think, 28 different beaches, something to choose from, that are named. One of which has a dahlia named after them, Long Cress, for example. So, something that I will be going into this role with very positive about, making sure I put the important understanding, critical understanding of people, history, getting to know the kind of of the place to underpin what is planted there. So, for example, heritage orchards, for example, that are relevant to the Channel Islands motivates me, but also bars of plants that are known from there or named relative to there will motivate. It's just got a lot of potential, and I hope that the owners have already embraced it, with there being no initial job there. So I hope that they
sounds like you're going to be working 23 hours a day. Is it just you, or are you going to have a team?
on a head gardener basis. There are staff that already maintain the garden as is, and they're doing a good job with it. It looks smart, but they are by and large existing hotel employees that have sort of because a lot of the hotel employees, as you can imagine, in the hospitality industry, they might not necessarily be from Guernsey, they might be from abroad, they might live in, as I'm doing. From a professional development point of view, but a personal wish, they want to do extra things to their day job when they've got an invested interest in the hotel. I get the impression, I hope, that there is a well-knit team that have been there for quite some time in some cases. They do extra hours to what they're contracted to do, paid to do gardening. But what that also means is that they can continue on those general things, such as the mowing, such as the maintenance side of the gardening process, and the curation is where I can come in, and the building of the kind of for the gardening, supplying that garden, and yes, contracting out to others as well. It won't just be me. If we need to get support in from third parties, let's support island businesses and businesses that might not be. We can't.
Oh, I thought you were going to bring me and Mark in then.
I was going to say, I'm hoping for an invitation.
But it's got to have somebody with the knowledge and the aptitude to do that, and that's where I would come. It's also got to have somebody who's very much a people person, and so I'm not shy of wanting to talk to guests. I was talking with I find when I holiday there, people want to talk to you anyway. It's got that very strong community ethos. Guernsey is very, very, the Channel Islands as a whole is very, very, very friendly. It's sort of old world England, but without the horrible old bitter prejudice that might well have affected old world England. It's really inclusive, but has a big charm. There are honesty boxes by the side of most roads with veg in it, and at this stage of life, pumpkins, I should imagine.
Yeah.
It's everything's in miniature. A long commute in a car in Guernsey is 15 minutes. Yeah, but everyone might well know each other, but it's certainly not necessarily from a nebby nosy point of view. It's there's something about
Community.
yeah. Yeah, I'm very pleased to be on this here. So lots of scope for different areas of the garden to be created, and for new planting schemes such as drought tolerant ones I'm very keen on. They've asked for a rose garden, so obviously that's gone down very well. Yeah, lots of areas, but I will have help. And I think part of the role is also to embrace those skills, to mentor those people who and come along with me, and why not, also then as well bringing the garden, as I said earlier, to the islanders' attention, let alone the visitors' attention, and make it a destination for people to volunteer, make it a destination for people to come earlier, but other things, you know, afternoon teas and pick your own in the garden, or cultural therapy. You know, I'm talking a long way off. All these things stages, a big part of my earning will be literally laying garden paper, mulching, getting supplies done, a bit of digging, you know, the glamorous stuff. There isn't a pressure immediately to get everything done. It's a 3-year program minimum of things for now, as I understand it. You know, and I've had budgetary discussions and all sorts, so which informed my relocation. So otherwise, I wouldn't have done it if I wasn't satisfied. So I think there's a lot of scope, and there's a lot of scope to still carry on the other work on top. Yes, in that respect, the Greenfingers gardening work will still be going. I'm still working with companies. I'm still working with charities. I've reduced my hours slightly on the contract for the new role, but only slightly, to accommodate the ability to still do that. But you've got to also bear in mind that, you know, my current commute, sorry, Mark, is an hour. You know, I'll have no commute.
Because you spend half of your commute at McDonald's getting a coffee in the morning.
And then losing my debit card as I did. Whereas I can walk to the beach in 15 minutes. So, you know, and there's a Waitrose around the corner.
Oh no, that's terrible.
But yes, it does mean that actually you're not as remote from the other stuff as possible, as you are possible, and yeah, it's very exciting. There's a lot of good coming out of it, and I'll bring people along. The premise is that I don't know what's going to happen necessarily from a media point of view. Obviously, there'll be things on Groovy Gardening, but I would say that I would love to make sure that the hotel is covering the garden project to its full potential, whether that's through my work on this or whether it's through their own or both. It's kind of up for discussion, but I think really what would be lovely to do, so personally, you know, where I'm not showing anything that is affecting privacy of hotel guests, is really coming to life, bringing to life the journey of that project, and you know, really for what it is, not necessarily trying to upsell hotel stays. What I mean by selling it is that horticultural, embracing that horticultural merit of what we're doing, and I suppose, yes, in the individuals that are doing the garden, not necessarily me I'm talking about, but the people behind making the garden look as it is, and gaining confidence in that.
Brilliant. Just Jenny said, she had a little comment earlier, I can't remember what it was. Chris, is there a garden for staff only, a little escape from when you're working so hard?
Great idea. Every possible effort will be on at the moment, but every possible effort would be made to do that. I mean, also bearing in mind that within a short walk around the corner is a really beautiful park, with a historic walled kitchen garden. Guernsey used to be the chief supplier of Britain's tomatoes until the 1970s, until foreign, mostly Spanish imports that we so know now, changed that. So it supplied most of our cut flowers. It supplied most of our tomatoes, if not all of our tomatoes. They were famed. There are lots of areas of derelict glass house across Guernsey, which is a sad sight to see. But what we can do through projects like this is bring back the heirloom heritage of Guernsey. I mean, I brought some back anyway, some seed back from that very kitchen garden, and try and embrace that principle in that way, and what talked about heritage orchards, and provide that sanctuary for staff. I think it would be lovely to provide elements of that garden areas of that garden in miniature, so that staff have their own private area. Staff, so we're infringing on hotel guests. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, it sounds it's going to be an absolute amazing time for you.
Well, I'll try and make it, but there's the wider ethos of why it can be amazing, and that's to incidentally be amazing for me, but I hope, but actually it's for the outcomes that the project can deliver and for might benefit. And as for a staying experience, of course, a good garden. We have lovely gardens in this country and abroad that are lovely hotels that coincidentally have a good garden as part of the reputation. Why not, in this case, try and make it that way, over time. And also there's a very strong horticultural society over on the island, so it will benefit islanders from having investment in something they're proud of.
Well, I personally can't wait to watch your journey. I'm sure everybody else is looking forward to it as well. It just sounds like it's a dream come true.
Hopefully, but totally uncoincidental. There was, we're on the Greenfingers special tonight, and I'm conscious that you've asked me why, what I'm doing and where I'm off to, but totally coincidental. There were a couple of coincidences that looked like a setup when I announced where I was going. The two was the fact that I'd written an article in Garden Folk magazine about the horticultural delights of Guernsey when I went on that escape. At the time I wrote that article, there was absolutely no prospect or understanding there'd be a prospect. But then secondly, also, not long after I wrote, well, actually, after I agreed to do that article, but before, I had I think I had a bit of one of those blip days that I've explained I've been having. And during those sorts of blip days, and we're all guilty of this as humans, we try and defeat that by having some rogue random idea. And that rogue random idea happened to be Garden Relief Day for Greenfingers. Why not gather around Guernsey on the coastal path? So George is doing his walk, wonderful, and definitely not seeking to rain on George's whatsoever. But the walk, I've made this commitment in public, which I'm still doing, that next March ending Relief Day, I'll be walking the entire 39 miles of the Guernsey coastal path.
Wow.
All in one go. Do it in stages, I should think. But actually the path is quite difficult in many places. There's lovely areas aren't it? Large, nice shallow coast, white sand. But there are very rugged areas that's up and down and winding and very quite tortuous. And it's hillier than you would expect. So, if you're not following Guernsey Tourist Board, do follow it at Visit Guernsey on there. It's a real untapped escape, really. And you can surprisingly get there from a UK airport or on the ferry from the south of England. And you can even go to France on the ferry as well, as I will be doing. But there's a merit as to why I ended up being there, which is why it seems fateful from that point of view, is that they are that was meant to be obvious. I'd set this walk up. I prior to going on that walk, decided to go and escape there, and then thought, it'd be good to get in touch with Garden Folk magazine and write an article horticulturally on what our plants were and gardens I visited. And then this, of course, happens. So, it's wonderful.
Well done, mate.
Absolutely
brilliant. Really
Thank you. There's a Just Giving page related to that as well. But let's focus on George's. There's much more time available to March, so I'm not going to publicise about that any more than that for this time. Let's focus on George's thing for now.
Talking about George's things, Steph's just a little while ago put a message in. He's up to £79 already.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
Rhyming. Now, the next work on with now he's gone to bed, of course, is we need to see if his next challenge would be to go on a plane to Guernsey or a boat.
Good luck with that. I think you might struggle to get Steph on the plane to Guernsey, let alone George.
Quite a small airport, which means you. They did used to have a jet plane, and such as the island community spirit, when they bought a jet, Guernsey's own airline. It's that cute. It has its own airline and everything. Oriny, which stands for Alderney. And it had a jet plane they bought in, and of course everyone gets excited because the big jet's coming into land. now they're reliant on the propeller specials.
Oh, because they're all props, are they?
They're all props, but no, I don't like flying, but I actually perversely prefer the props.
I've never been on a prop plane.
Yeah, regularly. I don't know what it is. It's a sensory thing, I think. It's the knowing that you can hear and see everything. But it's fine. Honest. Brilliant. Gardening approved, in fact.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, I've really enjoyed that. Thank you ever so much.
Something
really good.
A lot of people won't know is Chris's dad was actually a pilot when he was a child. Isn't that right, Chris?
Well, he worked on the...
When his dad was a child?
Worked on the airlines.
He worked on the airlines when I was a child. So, yes, I was not fearful of flying when I was a child. I had a particularly bad experience when I was a teenager going to Lanzarote on a holiday. Dropped, and of course it has in the turbulence, and it had that effect. But I'm much better than I was now. It's just takeoff. I'm not keen on and landing when it's going through the clouds nowadays. But yes, my father used to work for Orion Airways, as it was, and then Britannia for a long time, and people will remember Britannia, Dewey and Thompson, and Debonair Airways after that, which was a low-cost airline. That was based at Luton, and then he became an estate agent. What a big change that was! But yes, I suppose. I mean, I quite like watching planes. I do. So
I like planes.
That'll be my. I mean, not that there are that many planes coming into Guernsey and the same airline. Here's another Arena prop special coming in. Manchester one, they're all the same, but you can. I mean, I have booked it. You can also fly to Paris from Guernsey as well. So a little French day trip will be in order.
Lovely, yeah, sounds good. There's lots of people saying they've been on props. I've never been on a prop. Joe just said a minute ago. Let me find it back. She took a prop plane from Norwich to Paris via Luton, so we went up and then all the way back down again.
Good there. That sounds like one of those Expedia flight bookings.
That's it. Yeah.
Right, £10 cheaper, and then they realise they're going via the wrong place.
Yeah, you got four stops.
But yes, no, I mean they're not that small a plane. 70 seats. I mean, the thing is though, Guernsey's 4 different islands. Sark and Herm are both car free.
Oh wow!
And nip to those, and also they're dark sky islands as well. So you get stars and lie on the floor and look up at them, and it'd be totally uninhibited by that. But also Alderney's airport. Now that does have a small plane. I have been on it last time I went, 18-seater. But the other ones are fine. But Guernsey's very well known for its cattle. It's butter. I mean, it's butter and ice cream. We think proper butter on the mainland looks nice, but this one's got it's got extra beta carotene in it, so it's got a
orange,
peachy colour to it. It's honestly, I mean, to die for. But in other ways, it's very familiar. It's got our language. You walk down the high street. If you want to pop into M&S, you can do. It'll be the best sea view you ever get out of an M&S. So they're not part of the National Health Service, so that's just something to bear in mind when you visit. But it's us. you know, it's a crown dependency like the Isle of Man is. So they have their own government, but it has the same royal family and partially same kind of jurisdictions from our government that look after it. And we're very lucky to have it because, unlike us, for 5 years, Hitler got them in the war. So we are very lucky to have it back. So and it's got that beautiful history to it at that point as well. That is, you know, talking about the hotel, everything else aside, and beaches and things. It's got a lot punching above its weight, really, for the visitor.
Oh, brilliant. Fantastic. So I said to my wife, "Oh, I'll be in early tonight. It won't be 9 o'clock." So she's...
Chris said the same.
Didn't I? Us, not in a nasty way or anything. I said to Mark, and I said, "Be on, but I'm only off for a little bit." But none of my sentences are short, obviously. Have you noticed?
No.
Why we love you.
Exactly. We can sit back, put our feet up.
Well, I've been that all night, look.
Mark, have you got a lightning round for Chris?
He's already done the lightning round.
Well, I know, but come on.
Put another one on.
Come on.
What, you want me to just think of questions out of nowhere?
Yeah, come on.
You bring your book?
Yeah, but Chris has already done it once. This is his third time.
Go on then, let's think of it between us.
I don't think he's had the unlimited compost or unlimited seed question before.
I know it's got
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah,
Okay.
Last week's answer to that question, that's true. You can't from Chris that Chris Collins. If I think I'm talking about another Chris at random, is yes, it's the fun, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And then the other
Favorite snowdrop. That's mine. Come on.
Hey, good question. I think that Diggory, definitely beautiful with the puckered. I also like Godfrey Owen. That's a very good one. I've given you 2 answers there. Sorry.
There you go.
Joe said, I think it was Joe, favourite piece of music.
Oh yeah. It was Joe, yeah.
Ending by Ralph Vaughan Williams. Definitely.
Nice.
Favorite plant? Carol said.
Rose.
Roses.
Favourite view ever?
Favourite view ever? Well, actually, I mean, I've talked about.
Gonna be a Guernsey one, surely.
Guernsey, because I've been to Guernsey more than I have. I've been to. I mean, I'm going to 12 years ago, and I've visited about 18 times between them on holidays. So my favourite view is of Corbier Lighthouse in Western Jersey, and I've put it on record. I go. That's where I want to be left. So yeah, that's
fantastic.
Yeah.
Port or champagne? Joe says.
Champagne, definitely.
Definitely, 100%. But then I do like a bit of port as well.
I'm not keen. I'm more of a Madeira wine couple.
Oh. What garden tool could you not do without? Mark's dad said.
Garden.
Mum said.
My Bulldog Premier Pork. Sorry, a bit of product play.
That wasn't the one you abandoned and
No.
threw away into the compost.
Full length fork. No, that was an Asda fork. That was.
They're coming in thick and fast now.
They are.
Joe, again, custard or steamed pudding?
Custard
with steamed pudding, wouldn't it? Surely.
Together.
Yeah, of course it is. It's got to be.
I mean, if push comes to shove, I'd have to go custard, actually, on it if it was one or the other.
I couldn't have steamed pudding without custard.
No, so I've got to go for custard if it's just a singular answer.
Sticky toffee pudding.
Lovely. Yeah.
No,
Favourite biscuit? I bet it's fig rolls.
Favourite biscuit? No, it's not. As I love fig rolls. I've obviously we talked about favourite biscuit. Do you know I'm quite boring when it's? I like good old plain.
No.
I also like. I'm not so bothered about having chocolate on them, but I also like fruit shortcakes. Nice.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, lovely. Lovely.
Another one was favourite plant.
Favourite what plant?
You already
Rose.
said it.
He said Rose.
Yeah,
And favourite flower show. That's a good one.
Favourite flower show? That's a good one. I think I'm going to say
Chelsea, if it's not raining.
doing
no umbrellas.
Chelsea. Overload though. So when I'm most relaxed, probably not so much Chelsea, but I love going. Malvern, I probably would say, is my favourite.
Oh, never been.
Of the all.
Probably never will.
Well,
and I've got one. Favourite TV programme.
Keeping up appearances.
I was going to say keeping up appearances.
Brilliant.
Actually, one question that we've had on the lightning round that you wouldn't have had, because it's a fairly new one, is if you could choose one plant to describe yourself, what would it be?
Well, people think I would say rose, but I'm going to say probably something like a. Oh, that's a tricky question. How have people thought that before?
Don't do what Age Sellers is and give us some ambiguous answer and then not explain.
He said Tromboncino.
What would I go for to describe myself? Because I am eccentric, I am extroverted, but I'm an introvert underneath. Quite gregarious, sometimes outlandish, but importantly, kind and sincere. And me, don't always get it right, can be brash. Get easily. I'm quite sensitive as well. Oh, what would so? It'd have to be tender, wouldn't it, or half-hearted?
Hyacinth.
Yes.
Yeah. Charming.
Oh, Joe says you're an amaryllis.
Oh no, really? Do I have to? I'm going the lines of something like a exotic salvia that's half-hearted, but they're really half-hearted.
Half-hearted.
All ones, like the Salvia canadensis, the red ones, quite bright, brash, but they're
bright, nice ones.
So you have to bring them in, but on a good show when they're out and about and looks after everyone.
What you're saying, Chris, is that you're high maintenance.
Yeah. Well, I am high maintenance. Hey, you sign up to be with an autistic person unless you can deal with the high maintenance, because that's a fact of life. And I can't pull any more punches on that. There were some times of great complexity, even now. So yes, I need a good. I need a good bit of fettling sometimes.
Don't we all, Chris? Don't we all?
I'm a point. Betty,
oh my good God.
Betty, please not. Oh, dear, please not, Jeff. Hot lips, Karen.
Oh, hot lips.
I don't like salvia hot lips, but I'll take
least
that.
Favourite. I think is Carol speaking from experience there.
I don't know where that come from. No, I'm just chatting.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, I've had a great time. Thanks ever so much.
No problem.
Brilliant.
It's been really good.
On the road Monday.
Let's just chat about George's Just Giving page quickly. We'll just get it out there and we'll share it to everywhere and everybody.
I'll put a link on my stories or something after this, and it's on my profile for now until we've done it and afterwards as well. So
brilliant.
There if you want to find it.
Yes,
excellent.
Yeah, well, no problem.
Fantastic. Right, thanks everybody. I'm going in for my carbonara.
Are we going to actually let Chris stay until the very end? I don't think we've ever had a guest stay right till the very end before.
Let's do it.
That's one hell of an honour, isn't
it? Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you, Chris. Cheers, Mark. See you later. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Through the Garden Gate.